thinking, you got to outthink the other fella, you got to be a thought ahead of him. And it's probably one of the loneliest sports that I can probably know.
And comes with a right uppercut that misses. Both men have got to be tired. The crowd up cheering, trying to exhort each man to stay all the way full bore to the very end of it. And we have come to the end of the fight. Lionel Rose of Australia.
Oh, Slimmy. Well, mate. Hustling. What age are you now?
I'm a year younger than you.
Oh, cowboy.
Cowboy. Now I'm an old man. I knew you were a pensioner.
No. You're not pensioner. You can't. Too young to be pensioner.
What's that on?
Huh? Yeah, good luck. Come up a special. Don't mess my mind up tonight. You get into it.
Finna watch this boy put on the best performance he ever put on in his whole life. Are you gonna be a part of this?
He's my cousin.
All right, then. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
19 years old.
There's a
One
fox.
of the greatest fighters ever. Lionel Rose, baby.
Pleased to meet you. Man, I'm shaking hands too hard. Oh, yeah?
One time.
Honored to meet you, sir. Honored to meet you.
No worries.
Oh, how much?
A lot of memories here. And a lot of snakes too. Yeah, this is. There used to be a track coming in there off the main road there, which that was our. You walk in through there, and you'd see all the huts in here, all parked, all just camped here. Actually, there's half a dozen families lived right along here. There was in the 55, 56, there were four to five families. Big families too, you know, and a dozen kids and per family. So we used to all knock about together, go in the bush. My grandmother used to send us up to the store to get the bread. Well, by the time we get back from up the shop, we'd eaten all the guts out of the bread. Of course, we used to get a bit belting for that. We were going to school up the road up here at Labatush, and that was basically. And we walked up Jackson's track this way to the stores about 3 mile up. There used to be a dozen of us walk to school in the morning. And somebody started mucking around playing in the bush or something. You know, like one of the things was getting inside a tank. And just rolling tanks through the bushes and that. Well, no one ever made it to school. If one bloke said, "Oh, it's this, I don't feel like school, let's wag it," and the other take the chorus up and say, "Yes or no," you know. But nearly everyone all wagged it. When somebody said, "Let's wag it," we all wagged it. Nobody ever went to school. This track here originally was a logging track. To bring the logs, to take the logs up to the mill. And then once they cut them, they'd come back down. We used to get behind the trucks and hang on to the timber. They were hard men in those days, all mill workers, and in those days it was 6 o'clock closing, and they'd come home with they carry a dozen long necks, And we'd be waiting for them because they used to bring us lollies and that when they came from there. We'd hear them arguing coming around about half a mile down the road. You could hear them, you hear the whack whack and they'd be punching up coming up the road. My father was my main inspiration. He'd done tent fighting, carnival fighting, and he taught me the fundamentals. So, you know, from when I was about 6 or 7, I knew how to throw straight left hook, right across. So he was my first teacher. All my uncles at one time and another had boxing experience. And then going to the old West Melbourne Stadium and watching George Bracken fight, I was only 10 years old. Well, that just put the lid on the pot because once I saw Bracken fight, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a fighter. That was all gravel road. None of this was here then. Of course, we never punched a bag. We used to swing a flour bag, which is filled up with the sand off the road here. And one used to punch it bare knuckles and that. Crazy, no wonder I got crook knuckles now. In 1958, they moved us out of here into Drawn.
The welfare people had come and said, you can't live here anymore and this is where you have to live. And they moved lots of families into a little settlement just outside of Druin, near the Druin racecourse, because that's where they were told they had to live.
But there was a youth club in Warrigal that I started to go to. And it was there that I met a fellow by the name of Frank Oakes. And he was the boxing trainer there.
I went to Warrigal Primary School. Lionel went to Druin Primary School, and we had inter-school sport against each other's schools, and everybody was talking about this kid who could play football really well for Druin. Lionel was the hero of the school, of Druin Primary School anyway. So that's when I first saw Lionel, and then later on, he came home with my dad. My dad brought him home for tea one night. So would have been probably about 11 or 12 then. People said they wouldn't play with us because we had a black person go to our house, which we just, okay, well, bad luck. You know, that's how we were taught to just not to worry about it. So it didn't worry us.
Lionel Rose, this is your life.
Frank, you arranged for Lionel to fight an amateur preliminary to a professional bout at Melbourne's Festival Hall. And nobody is more excited, Lionel, than your father. He tells everybody who will stop to listen about his son Lionel, aged 15, stepping into that sacred square. But Frank, I think tragedy struck then.
Yes, Mike, it did. Lionel and I arrived in from training about a couple of nights before the fight was due to take place. And Lionel's grandmother came out into the yard and told me that his dad had just passed away.
We went to the funeral on Friday and went straight down to the Festival and fought. And I won the fight. I got the boy of the night. I fought 19 amateur fights under Frank Oakes. And I just forget now, I won most of them anyhow. I won the Australian flyweight title when I was about 16 or something like that in Hobart City Hall, Tassie. And I was beaten by half a point in 1964 Olympics for Tokyo. And so I said, oh, bugger, I said to Oakesy, I said, well, I think I'll turn pro. He said, all right. He said, we'll go to Melbourne, he said, we'll find a good trainer for you. I said, okay. So we go down to Melbourne, we come up with Jack Rennie.
Frank thought enough of me to bring Lionel to me, because at that time there were several other trainers in Victoria that wanted to get hold of him. And Frank brought him to me. He said, no, I'd rather him be with you. And he got a good friendship with Lionel already because he was coming down on weekends. So I'd rather see you have him. You look after him.
I first met Lionel when he arrived at our front door. Would have been about 8. He was carrying a bag of clothes and said, I'm Lionel Rose, I've come to stay. I want to learn how to box. And Slim moved in, become part of the family, moved into the bedroom, and that was it. From then on, he was part of every day. Our lives changed.
He could do a lot of things other boys couldn't do. A lot he did on instinct, and you know, also he had the punching power. Boxers have got to be able to punch. To get anywhere in the fight game, you've got to have that power in your left or right hand. And Lionel you could see that Lionel had this quite from the start.
Probably my hardest punch is the right cross. But I don't use the punch a lot. I'm strictly a boxer. I'm not a knockout specialist. Sometimes I wish I could be and finish a fight early.
Mum used to drive Lionel before he had a car, up to Jackson's track every weekend. I'd go along with him. And Mum understood and got to know Lionel's mum very well. And they became very, very close. In a lot of ways, she surrogated for Gina when Lionel was away. Training was 7 days a week. Working out the fitness level, sometimes Lionel would want to go harder. Mum taught herself to be a dietitian. She learnt how to prepare food. She went through calorie book after calorie book. She worked out the values of various meats and fruits and vegetables so that he was always being fed what he needed, what would give him the energy to keep going. And training Lionel up to the point where he could walk into the ring at peak condition, and that was the trick every single time. It became an incredible skill.
Boxing those days was an exciting time. At Festival Hall used to be packed. The ladies would go in their finest, and gentlemen would wear collar and ties, and boxing was a very respected sport.
We got him jobs when he was young. He didn't have a trade. We got him a job in a paddle beating shop, and we started him up in a milk bar once. He did well there.
Mum and Lionel both smoked cigarettes, which Dad absolutely hated. So that alone put them in a special situation in the house where they're always sneaking around, sneaking a cigarette where Dad couldn't see. And Dad can be quite a hard taskmaster in his own way. He's very one-dimensional when it comes to an aim. Dad ended up winning the argument about smoking, but he wouldn't give up smoking. He went to a pipe instead. And Dad goes, oh, well, it's probably less harmful. Just made the assumption it would be. He goes, yes, it is. Mum backed Lionel up and said, it is. Oh, it's way less harmful than, cigarettes. And Dad went, oh, all right then. So for a few years he lugged this pipe around until he could get back on the ciggies. But yeah, they had a very spirited journey at times, him and Dad.
Rocky Gattalari was at the old tin shed in Westcutters Bay. Well, he was favourite in Sydney. He wasn't a favourite in Melbourne.
Tonight, it's Rocky Gattalari's chance to show what he's made of. Out they come for round one of the Australian Bantamweight Championship. And it's Gattalari in dark trunks, Lionel Rose in light trunks. Gattalari sporting white boxing boots as they move into centre ring. These two brilliantly fast fighting gamecocks. It's Gattalari moving away from the left-hand lead of Lionel Rose. Rose weaving from side to side. Gattalari watching, got his left hand ready. In comes Rose, two left hooks.
Rose immediately lets Galilei know that Galilei's in the ring with the champion. Razor sharp with that left-hand jab. He's tried everything, hasn't he?
Yes, yes.
Johnny Famechon, and up now for the 13th round, and that's Lionel Rose, who could be fighting for an Empire title early in 1968. Centering, jab, 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 and then hook and jab again by Lionel Rose. The magic of the left hand of Lionel Rose. Boy, has there some reflex there. In he goes again, jabbing that left hand. He hit that time Galilei right between the eyes. And Rose is going to put some pressure on the challenger in this 13th round. A beautiful right, and Galilei's down. A perfect right hand. Count is 5, 6, 7, 8. He's up at 8, and the referee tells Rose he must go back to the neutral corner. The count is 9 and box on, and there's 2 minutes to go in the 13th round. And again, challenger trying desperately to hold on to Lionel Rose. A magnificent right hand by Rose, and he's cutting loose now at the challenger. Left hook there, but Galilei's got nothing, but he's fighting hard, and he's undoubted and magnificent courage to keep him on his rocky feet. It's a left by Rose, a right by Rose. He goes for an uppercut, a hook by Rose, uppercut by Rose. Galilei's hit again, and he's right down, and I think that'll be the end of the fight. The referee stopped the fight with Galilei knocked right out. And Jack Rennie grabs Lionel Rose over here in the corner. It's Galilei. He's knocked right out at the moment.
They rushed him to the hospital. I was very worried. I was ringing up until about 1 o'clock last night to see how he was, and before I got word that he was my trainer Jack Rennie rang. I was very upset after the fight. I didn't like to see it too. I felt that I didn't want to be the one to win the fight like that, because he's a nice little fellow, Rocky, and a great sportsman.
Sorry, Rock. What can you say? And we're sitting around the table one night in Marco Polo Street, was where we resided, and as a phone call came through. So Jack wouldn't, he picked the phone up, and I could hear him mumbling in the corner, but we're just halfway through tea. And he said, Lionel, he said, there's a phone call here from Tokyo, the Japanese. They want to know if you fight Harada for the world title. 27th of February. I said, yep, we'll take it.
Rose is ranked number 6 bantamweight challenger in the World Boxing Association's rating, and Pimentel was rated number 1. Do you think that they perhaps feel they're going to get an easier fight by picking the number 6 rated fighter?
Yes, and I think we can throw a bit of a spanner in the works there, Ron.
You're quite confident that they're in for a surprise?
I think so, yes. If Lionel boxes, as I know he can, and I think a boxer like Harada will bring the best out in Lionel.
What is it about the Japanese world champion that makes you think that Lionel can handle him, Jack?
Well, I think he's very open, Ron, very open to a punch. He's an aggressive type, and they're the types that suit Lionel. He'll come up all the time. Notice that left hand that Medell keeps hitting him with. I can't understand why he didn't keep that up. Now, that's Lionel's best punch, the straight left. He moves again. Harada's open every time he throws those punches to the body.
And have you pulled up after the inoculation?
I just feel a bit off colour. For the past, say, 48 hours, but I'm okay now. I've trained this morning and I feel very good.
Jack, can Lionel be at his absolute top on February 27 in Tokyo?
Yes, Ron, we're following the same pattern we did before he fought Rocky Galilei, and using exactly the same techniques. That night, I think he would have beaten anyone. He was so fit. He said, even coming up the last couple, that he could have gone all night. He felt so well. And I think he could have taken Galilei earlier, but I had thought we may be fighting for the Empire title, so we just kept him going as long as he could. But we just ended it in the 13th. Now, we'll be training away from Melbourne next weekend and the following weekend, and we leave for Japan the next week. Now, I believe it's cold over there, so we are going a week earlier than we anticipated, and I think that'll let Lionel settle down a lot better.
people sent gum leaves over to Japan for the fight, and while he was training, and they told everyone that Dad said, oh, that's how we keep him fit, he eats them. It grew out of it added a mystery to it. The Aboriginal was only known by British museums.
Most young fellas like a beat in their lives, whether it's the beat of music, the beat of a new sports car, or whether it's just the beat of modern young living. For a budding world champion, the beat has to be the beat of a skipping rope. God, it's cold. Yep. In the background is the Budokan, which is the famous stadium in Tokyo and will be the scene on Tuesday night of the World Bantamweight Championship with Australia's Lionel Rose challenging Fighting Harada for that world crown. Right before our Channel 7 World of Sport cameras, it's a real big thrill here in Tokyo to say hello to Jack Rennie and to Lionel Rose. Lionel, the big question to you first, how do you like it?
Well, it's a bit cold, but it's not different from Melbourne weather.
You look pretty fit to me.
I feel pretty fit too. I've trained very hard.
A bit different to Melbourne weather this week.
Yes, a little bit of snow, but that's the only thing that's different. It's warm. It's not like it, because it's pretty hot in Melbourne at the moment. But usual Melbourne winter, it gets colder in Melbourne than here, I think.
Not colder than Warragul.
Well, I don't know about that.
Jack, the biggest thrill I got when I arrived here was to see Lionel so bouncy about everything. He's really looking forward to the big night on Tuesday.
Yes, Ron, and he's in the best possible condition. I've never seen him going so well. Surprising the Japanese press who have come round to see him, and they've told me that he looks to be the best contender yet to face Harada. So we're very confident.
They worked a few little tactics on you in training. I noticed in the TV ringside program the other night that they whipped in Harada's brother to spar, while Harada himself went only about quarter pace in his little workout.
Yes, well, of course, as soon as we saw that, we pulled Lionel up, so that I don't know much more.
There's been a story that Lionel's right hand has got a little bit of a jar in it. Is there any truth in this story? What do you say about that, Lionel?
As you can see, Ron, the hand's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a little bit sore. These things happen with all fighters. I think you punch the bag a bit hard, or you might throw a punch, hit someone on top of the head in the gym, and it bruises a little bit, but other than that, it's 100%.
You've got no worries about it, Jack?
No, Ron, I think you can prove that if you like. Have a go.
Yeah, look.
There's nothing wrong with it. No,
nothing.
No.
Well, Mrs. Rose, how does it feel now it's all over?
I'm very happy.
Well, what about after it was all over? I don't suppose you would have had much sleep, would you?
No, I didn't. As a matter of fact, I never slept at all.
We know that there was quite a bit of an emotional squeeze.
Yes, we all hugged one another, and I was crying with happiness.
Arriving from Tokyo, where he won the Bantamweight Championship of the World, Lionel Rose returns to Australia.
I saw these people standing on top of up in the lounge of the airport, and there must have been 500 of this in the tarmac. And I said, the hostess came down, I said, what have you got some, you got the Beatles or something up the front there? And she said, no, she said, what are all these people doing? She said, these people are here to see you. And we didn't realise the impact that winning the title had on, well, not just Melbourne, but the whole of Australia.
Lionel, do you see this fight as something of a victory for your people?
Well, I haven't thought about it like that, but when you ask me that question, I think perhaps they could get more recognition now. I believe I'm the first Aboriginal to win a world title, but I'm not too clued up with all this sort of thing. I think of myself as an Australian. I think everyone else is an Australian here with me, and I don't go in for people saying black and white sort of thing.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of people that just contacted us to say, well done, you beat the Japs. I know it's racially it's improper, but the reality was there's an awful lot of people that have been prisoners of the Japanese in World War II, and when Lionel beat Harada, it was a victory for more than just him. It was a victory. They felt it was a victory for them too.
Lionel was such a huge, really, really huge celebrity. There wouldn't be a day go by that he wasn't in the newspaper or on television or something. We had this thing where we wanted to keep things pretty private, so we didn't tell anybody. We would go to the drive-in most nights, but there'd be 30 kids sitting on the pole around the car, so it just didn't have any privacy. So we would probably go shooting, to come up to the bush and go shooting and visit the family and things like that, where things were a bit more normal.
At one point, when the Sakurai fight, the title defence in Japan, Dad had to go to America to organise his next fight after that because we were positive he would win. Lionel was just so fit and so dedicated. So Mum had to take over training him. The Japanese never allowed a woman in a gymnasium before. They had to change the law. We were forced to wait in Hong Kong for a week while all that went through, and even then when we first arrived at the Japanese training gym, there were protesters outside.
Sakurai tries to counter with a right-hand lead, but is unsuccessful. Rose throws a beautiful left hand straight
up and went the full distance, 15 rounds. And the referee took a point off him too for holding. So that sort of wavered the knockdown up. And it was a close fight, and they gave me the decision. And that was my first defence.
After the fight, we went back to a party back at the Akasaka Prince Hotel, and the bloke tried to knife me there. A fella came in there with a big knife. He reckoned I was punished Sakurai too much. It was no good. Yeah. So anyway, he got this big knife. They got off him. They kicked the shit out of him.
A lot of white mothers saw him as, they mothered him. A lot of the letters we used to get were, oh, he's like my own son. People would say that, you know, women would say, I felt like he was my own boy, I had to be protective of him.
I got your autograph last trip, remember? Yeah. You did it on the cheque form last time, remember?
The cheque bounce?
Oh, I haven't presented yet. I'm waiting until he gets some more money. You've done a wonderful job.
I received a lot of awards. Probably Australian of the Year was a great memory for me. And the Queen gave us an MBE. Yeah, they got things like that trophy-wise.
And this one that I received today, it's a great honour for me and for my family because, you know, I think it's the first time the Aboriginals received the award, and also, as I said, it's an honour for my family, and I think all of this is due to my trainer Jack Redding. I think if it wasn't for Jack, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be receiving these awards because he's done a tremendous amount for me, and his wife Cheryl.
And Mum's relationship with Lionel's a difficult one for me because I only saw the rumours they had an affair. It's quite possible, could have happened, but I never saw it, and I was around all the time. I never saw it, and I never felt that. It was a real mother-son thing. Lionel was like the big brother. He was our big brother. You know, he was like, Dad wouldn't let us have a dog. Slim went and got a dog. That was it. There's a dog. Dad adopted the dog, took it everywhere with him. And that dog lived with him 24/7, you know. It had a shocking name. It was called Darky, but Lionel named it. And that dog lived 16 years. So he was the big brother that brought home things, that changed it, that let us get away with stuff, you know.
Well, we more or less attached ourselves to one promoter by the name of George Parnassus. He was a Greek-American, but he was a very fair man. He always liked Lionel's style. He always stuck by us all the way through.
And I said to George Parnassus, just when I hit the West Coast, that's what the big money was. We'll get $20,000 for 10 rounds over there, you know, that was big money in 1969. And then he offered us $75,000 to, who was defence against Castillo, wasn't it? Anyhow, I was boxing in the gym downtown Los Angeles and punching the heavy bag. And this fellow came and stood over there, and I knew him, and he said, "Hey, Lionel." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Have you ever heard of Elvis Presley?" I said, "Of course I have." He said, "Well," I said, "What about him?" He said, "Well, he wants to meet you." I said, "When?" He said, "Whenever you're ready." I said, "Well, I'm ready now." He took the gloves off, went in back to the hotel, cleaned up. We went out to MGM Studios in Hollywood. We walk in, this great big, this sort of big shed it was. And as we got through into the main part, the lights were on, and there was a man standing right there in a white suit. He came straight over and he said, "How you going, Lionel?" And he shook hands, got his autograph, and we had our photo taken together.
Lionel said, "I will take $75,000, Mr. George Parnassus, to defend my title in your city. But I want $75,000 net."
Every day we'd go up to the sweat bars and I put Lionel in it and take him out about half an hour later. And we'd watch him each time and how much weight he'd lose. It was only just coming off in dribs and drabs. I always used to say that Lionel fought 2 battles, one on the scales and one in the ring.
Well, I can't say it was from concentration this time, because it wasn't. It was just from not seeing the punch coming. I was boxing all right, I was going well up to this stage, and overcame the right hand. Just a blur, and bang, it landed, and down I went.
A hard left hook, and he gets it, just missed the jaw of Castillo. A hard right hand by Castillo, and Lionel Rose is down.
I think it was the 10th or 11th round. The fight was pretty close. Lionel was boxing beautifully. I thought he was winning, but they didn't see it that way. And then when the final decision was given...
It was a split decision, and they gave the fight to me. Well, they just destroyed the stadium.
The place went mad. The Mexicans just blew their stack, and they just roared and screamed and yelled and started to toss everything they could put their hands on into the ring. Bang, bang, bang. Of course, every missile that was thrown was on our way.
They caused $200,000 worth of damage to the forum. And we were locked down underground in the restaurants we couldn't get out until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I think it's pretty poor sportsmanship when someone starts hurling bottles at you. Like they say, Australian crowds are unfair, but they're not as bad as some of these fellas here.
How did you feel about the decision?
Well, I don't know. I don't follow the fight. Would ask this fellow here.
I thought he won it, and I'd be very disappointed if he hadn't have gotten it. I think it's very good officiating. I was very happy with the Californian officials in this fight.
Was this your toughest fight, Lionel?
Yes, and it would be the toughest, I'd say.
I understand you with the fight.
Would be the toughest.
Not far now. Not far now.
And they paid us the next day. They paid us in cash. So we had to stuff all this money in our pockets. And the bank was across the road. We had a bodyguard, and Jack would put the money under his hat, and I had my pockets full and sock and everything. So we get across to the bank, and we had to transfer that from there back to Aussie. I've never seen so much money in my life, you know. Because there's a couple of $100 lot here and there.
We always went to Kilcunda for Christmas, left the city, down to the beach, take the basic supplies, go fishing for food and hunting for rabbits, something Lionel was extremely good at. He actually shot 2 with 1 shot once at speed. There's a police officer at speed can attest to that. He was there when it happened.
And Kilcunda's a 1-horse town. And we put it on the map because every weekend I'd take Lionel down there to do his training. And every weekend that we'd be down there, the milk bar, the pub, everyone did roaring trains. So much so that today the milk bar's got out photos of when we had the training camp there. But it was a good part of Lionel's preparation. He used to enjoy the fresh air. It was so good for us that we used to go down there as often as we could. We were looking for an opponent for a long while, and it was decided we'd get a English-speaking one, and the best idea would be to get the British champion, who was Alan Rudkin.
Alan, I believe it took you a few days to settle in once you arrived to Melbourne.
Yes, that's true. For a couple of nights I couldn't sleep at the right time, you know. I was falling asleep in the day about 4 o'clock, you know. But the last couple of nights I've had good sleeps.
How's your weight at the moment?
Well, I'll say this, I'll be 86 on the day of the fight. That's the only thing that counts.
Against Rudkin, he was 10 pound over the night before the fight. And he was in you know, little steam baths wrapped up in rugs and fainting, trying to get the weight off.
The challenger, Alan Rudkins, weighs in at 8 stone 5 3/4 pounds. Within the weight limit.
Dead on, Lionel.
We make the official announcement that the champion, Lionel Rose, weighed in right on 8 stone 6 pounds.
Did you have any worries that you wouldn't make the limit?
No, I thought I'd go pretty close to it.
Feel confident?
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the bantamweight champion of the world, Lionel Rose.
And here he is, the pride of Australia, Lionel Rose, the world bantamweight champion. Lionel Rose tipped the scales this morning at 8 stone 6 pounds. He looked drawn, a little haggard, but obviously he would have put on a lot of weight before he got into the ring tonight. Lionel Rose now waving to this packed Kooyong Stadium where you can cut the atmosphere with a knife, and people now waiting for what could be a ring classic. Stand by. Oh, beautiful left by Lionel Rose. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, good right, but a beautiful left counter from Lionel Rose. Lionel looks as though he means business. Beautiful smashing left of the jaw. Oh, good right that time by Rose. You see him brush the trickle of blood away there. And beautiful right by Rose. You see the cut now on Alan Rudkin's over his left eye. Oh, smashing right to the jaw, right off balance. On instruction from his corner, he's been told, beautiful, classic jab with Rose. Remy has told him to get out there, use your left jab. Lionel Rose in 34 fights has not had a great many. Oh, now he ran into a hard one from Rudkin, but he was more shocked than anything else. Of course, it could be, I think it's a way out theory, that Lionel Rose has taken off so much weight to make the 8 stone 6 limit that he could be just a little on the weak side, particularly if this fight goes 15 rounds, despite Rose's claim that he always comes home well. Well, this is it then, the final round of this World Bantamweight Championship fight. Lionel Rose, Alan Rudkin shaking hands, true sportsmanlike fashion to start the final round, and this should be a beauty. Let's see Rudkin getting in first. 9 seconds to go, 8, 7 as Rudkin comes in, and Rose in the last effort is standing up. Rudkin throwing everything at him, the bell will go, and he's second. And the last scoring punch by Alan Rudkin in a ring classic at Kooyong Stadium, Melbourne. One of the great fights in Australian boxing history, this World Championship. Fight between Lionel Rose, who was slumped down in his corner, absolutely exhausted at the end of that 15th round. It was all he could do to stay on his feet, not from punching power, just from, or being hit by Rudkin, just from the grueling effects of 15 hard rounds.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here's the official announcement.
The result of the bantamweight title of the world. Vic Patrick, the referee, scored it 70-63, Rose.
First one from Vic Patrick, Rose.
Judge Ray Mitchell scored 75-60, Rose.
It's all over. Rose has retained.
And he nearly killed himself when he fought Rudkin. That was terrible. It's dehydration. You can't fight and have dehydration. And though, in those days too, you could take things like Lasix, fluid tablets to get rid of fluids, and jockeys would live on them as well. But you can't take them and exert physical energy at the same time. And 2 jockeys died.
I feel disappointed, you know. I didn't win the fight, but a little bit sore, but you know, that's how I feel, you know.
How's the cut over your eye?
Oh, it's not so bad. I got the doctor put 7 stitches in it, you know. It's made a good job of it, you know. But I've had this eye cut before, you know, so I think it'll heal well.
Well, I feel very sore and tired, but other than that, you know, I'm okay.
What's wrong with your hand?
Well, I was damaged in a fight last night, about the 8th round, and I was pretty sore after. I went to the hospital and had it x-rayed, and found there was no bones broken, but it was badly bruised.
Did it affect your fighting ability at all from the 8th round on?
Well, I couldn't use the punch to the head, the right hand, because it was too sore. I suppose it did limit my punching power a bit.
In the 15th round, you seemed very tired. How tired were you?
Well, I wasn't tired. I just I had a bad stitch coming up after about the 10th round, and I couldn't breathe. And I think this is what happened. I couldn't get my breath. I had to take short, quick breath. And although I still felt all right in the arms, the leg, I still felt strong, but I just couldn't do anything about it. I think once your breathing goes, well, you feel tired everywhere. You just get, you flounder, and you can't do anything about it.
Well, Lionel, when did you first decide to ask Jenny to marry you?
Oh, about 3 or 4 nights ago.
So it was a very hasty decision.
Yeah, we thought that.
You've known Jenny for some years?
10, yeah.
When did you decide she was the girl for you?
Well, you've known a girl for 10 years, you should know by then, shouldn't you?
That's fair enough. Jenny, how do you feel about boxing generally?
Well, I think it's a good sport.
You'd like to see Lionel continue on his merry way?
Yes, if you wanted to, I think it's all right.
You've obviously seen Lionel fight. How do you feel when he's in the ring?
A little bit nervous.
How does it feel to be suddenly thrust into a blaze of publicity? Obviously, you're quite a shy, retiring girl.
Well, it's a bit surprising.
Well, the $64 question. When do you plan to get married?
Not until the end of next year, when I've finished school.
And would you like to continue on as a kindergarten teacher after you're married?
Yes, I think so.
How does Lionel feel about working wives?
Well, if she can do the work, I'll be happy to stay home and wash the dishes.
Oh, my music. Well, that's another story.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome champion of the world, Lionel Rose.
Turn it up.
Pick me up on your way down.
You were mine for just a while. Now you're putting on the style, and you never once looked back at your home across the track. You're the gossip of the town, but my heart can still be found where you tossed it on the ground. Pick me up on your way down. Pick me up on your way down when you're blue and all alone. When the glamour starts to bore you, come on back where you belong. You may be their pride and joy, but they'll find another toy. Then they'll take away your crown. Pick me up on...
Yes, we're very happy to sign that contract for Lionel to meet Olivares in Los Angeles on August 15.
Can you tell us something about the terms of the contract?
Well, it's the highest payment ever made to a bantamweight boxer, $100,000, which is quite breathtaking, and a lot of people couldn't believe it until they saw the contract. A tribute, I think, to Lionel's ability, that they're willing to pay him that much money.
Francis says, George, I can't make 8-10-6 again. I said, I'll go back to Australia and I'll just say that I've vacated that division. I'm going to campaign as a featherweight. And he said, no, he said, I'll pay the good money for the fight.
I'll buy the title virtually. You okay, darling? It's all right.
From Melbourne, Australia, making the fourth defense of his title, also weighing exactly 118 pounds, the great bantamweight champion of the world, Lionel Rose.
There goes the bell for round one of the Bantamweight Championship of the World. Olivares holding the gloves fairly high in typical fashion. Rose just moving around in centre ring. In gym workouts, we've seen Olivares walking in. Oh, a beautiful right to the head of Olivares from Rose. A lovely right cross, and as Olivares opened up with left and right into the body of Rose, and a left hook into the head of Rose. Olivares skips back now into centre ring. Rose still looking very confident. As Jack Rennie giving fight instructions there to Lionel Rose. Ruben Olivares moving out confidently into centre ring for round 5. Straight left lead from Olivares. Oliveira's flicking out the left once again. Rose in a bit of trouble in the first 4 rounds so far. Can Rose weather the storm from this hard-punching Mexican? 49 knockouts in 51 fights. Rose with a good straight left to the head of Oliveira. Oliveira's coming in, trying the left rip, comes in with a right around in the kidney region, and then left hooking into the head of Rose. Rose forced back on the ropes, and Rose looks as though he's in quite a bit of trouble as Oliveira is pounding away at the midsection of Rose. Rose moving back again into centre ring, gets a left jab, a right cross, a left hook into the head, a right cross to the head, a left hook into the head of Rose, and Rose down. 5, 6. Rose back on his feet, bleeding from the mouth. Jack Rennie looking very, very anxious at the moment as the champion went down in the 5th round. Oliveira's coming in now, trying to go on with the job. Rose fighting back desperately. Gets Oliveira's from left and right. Oliveira's getting the left hooks in and trying to nail Rose. Rose battling on desperately here at the forum. A right and a left to the head from Oliveira's. Rose being forced to miss. Oliveira's with those jolting Rose goes down the second time in round 5. Jack Rennie into the ring. And it's all over. Ruben Oliveira wins the bantamweight championship of the world. Police moving into the ring everywhere. Rose
Give us a clap,
down
kids.
for the second time in round 5.
My speed wasn't there on the night of the fight. And I think after I thrown the first punch, I knew, that I couldn't get away from him fast enough, so I had to stand and mix it. Surprised that I lasted as long as I did, to tell you the truth.
What are your plans now?
I'll have a couple of weeks rest, and 6 weeks, I think I'll be fighting again.
In the featherweight division this time?
Yeah, featherweight, yeah. I've never felt free of mind, so relaxed in the last 2 or 3 months. Since losing the title, since being out of the public eye, since being out of the newspapers, I haven't had fellas knocking on the door all hours of the day, ringing up, saying they want to do a publicity shot here, they want to do a television sort of thing, And let me say this, it's no great thing being a world champion. As a matter of fact, it's better being a mix.
Well, after Sunny Side Up, of course, it must have created something in people's mind that I could sing. Well, I'm the most hopeless singer in the world, but Johnny Young didn't think so. So he wrote this song called I Thank You. So he showed me the song, and then he played the cassette, and well, we finally said, OK, we'll do it. So we did it down in South Melbourne at the old Armstrong Studios there. And it took us all out to do it. It was useless.
When a boy becomes a man, he must do the best he can to live his life and find his childhood dream. I've had the good time.
Well, at the moment I'm about 2 or 3 pounds over the limit, and I don't think I'll have any trouble making A12.
Any thoughts on that, Mr. Rennie?
Well, no, Lionel is training well, and he's still got a week to go yet, which is the final stage of his preparation, and this last bit of weight will come off quite easily. Two weeks after he lost the last fight, they sold 50,000 copies of a record that he made. And he has retained his popularity in that sense. A lot of people felt so very sorry for him, and maybe this influenced them. But, well, I think it's just nature once you lose your title, and they look for the next champion then.
If I was beaten really badly, well, I probably would have given it away, but retired. But I don't think I was beaten badly. Actually, I thought I should have won, but still, it's it's history now. So.
I understand on last Thursday night you weighed 9.11. The junior lightweight limit is 9.4. Now you've got to lose 7 pounds in 2 weeks. Will this present any problem to you at all?
Well, no, I don't think it will, because the weather over in Japan at this stage of the game is about 75, 80 degrees. It's a lot warmer than here, and I think probably lose 6, 7 pounds within a week, I think.
Was it the opponent? Was it he himself that couldn't raise the occasion? I think it was himself. He was neglecting training outside of gym hours, and I think he found that the fight was just too tough and he couldn't produce his best.
At the moment I've lost the dedication, the will to train and live the life that, live the life of a hermit, put it like that. And I want to see a bit of the sunny side, I think. So I think when a fighter feels like this, you can't do everything and then be a fighter on top of it. So I think the best thing to do is to retire. That's what I've done.
When he finished boxing, it was, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And I think he thought, well, to hell with the whole lot of you. I've had no life, absolutely none, no teenage years when everybody else is out having a good time. So I think he thought he might just have a little play at being a teenager and of course having the amounts of money that he had. He could just go and buy a new car today and a new one tomorrow.
Rose said that he'd bought the guitar after he was approached by a man he knew only by the name of John, while he and his brother Joey had been drinking in the Retreat Hotel in Abbotsford. He said John had offered to sell him the guitar for $400. When asked by police whether he thought it was rather unusual that a guitar valued at $800 was being sold so cheaply, Rose said that he'd merely thought it was a good bargain, although looking back on it now, he might have had second thoughts. A character witness, Dr. Charles Marshall, who said he'd known Rose for about 10 years, said he found it hard to believe that Rose could have committed the offence. He said Rose was a respected member of the community whose only real failing was that he was too generous and was often taken in by people. Rose was released on $400 bail on his own reconnaissance.
When he became famous and when he became wealthy, there was those that had their hand out, and I've witnessed that him giving money right, left and centre, or he would literally give you the shirt off his back, which I found frustrating because he'd worked so hard for it and he gave a lot of it away.
It's natural that you can be, like they say, a rooster one day and a chook the next. But as long as the boxer or whoever it might be can get someone to guide him to look after his money, that usually will keep him right, keeps him safe.
We agreed that we would form this trust to protect his assets and his money, because he was going through it at a pretty fair rate. And so we all agreed, but it just didn't. And I remember saying to Lionel after we walked out, I said, this could put pressure on our friendship, because if I'm one of the ones that's going to vote against you, getting given $1,000 or $5,000, $100, whatever the case may be, if I'm going to vote against you, I said, you might get dirty on me, and this could put pressure on our friendship. I don't want that. And no, he reassured me. He said, no, John, that won't happen. He knew that this could be a good thing, because he knew that at the rate he was spending, that it would go quickly. But so anyway, the bottom line is that we didn't really get it up and running, and yeah, whether that might have been a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know.
It's 7:15 a.m, cold and raining. Lionel Rose has never liked doing road work, even last time round when he was world bantamweight champion. And he doesn't like it all that much more now, but it has to be done. Rose wants to be world champ a second time, and that road back is a hard one.
Well, so I was out of the game 4 years, and I tried my hand at a few different jobs that didn't take to them too well. And this is anything that I've been able to do well.
This is your trade?
This is my trade, and this is why I'm in it again, and after 4 years out of it.
A lot of unkind things have been said that you didn't know when to quit. How do you react to those?
Well, I think some of these fellas who are mouthing all these things have never probably had a glove on themselves in their lives before. But critics are critics, aren't they?
He was asked or had a lot of pressure put on him to fight in South Africa at the time of apartheid. Around about the same time, Yvonne Goolagong, the tennis player, had also been invited to play tennis in South Africa. There was a world boycott in operation by most sports stars at the time, refusing to participate in sport under the apartheid system. Now, Lionel and Yvonne were both invited to play sport in South Africa. Yvonne, under pressure from her tennis coach, Vic Edwards, actually went and was deemed an honorary white under the apartheid system in South Africa, which was the only way that a non-white person was allowed into South Africa. Now, Lionel, on the other hand, chose to consult with Aboriginal people.
I worked it all out that it's better off me staying here, just forgetting about Africa.
And the reason for it is because you object to the apartheid policies of the South African government?
As it turns out, yes, that's right.
What will it mean to you personally? Do you stand to lose much by this as far as your career goes?
No, well, only that particular fight, because the fight won't be fought. But there was a chance of. Well, we had pretty good money being paid for a start, and plus the fact that my opponent was in the world ratings, and there was a chance of me having a world title fight if I'd beaten that happy boy. But that's the way it is now. If he likes to come out here, I'll fight him.
Well, I think that he's been pressured not to fight.
By whom?
By his own people. I think that certain elements there have pressured him not to go on with the fight. He doesn't say this, but in a few little talks I've had with him over the last week, he says that he's met different people that don't want him to go, and he's worried about it. And I think he's been thinking, and then just suddenly decided, well, I'm not going.
I've never been approached by any particular political movement or black power people to cancel the fight, because I don't know of any.
The will to win was there, but the dedication and the fitness level wasn't.
Got a winner?
I don't know. Did you back that Bodacious Barb the other day? What are you backing?
Radiant Star.
Whereabouts?
You're Radiant Melbourne.
And after that, then the urge wasn't there, and the motivation and the training was getting harder, and that's how then I started to have a drink, and I started to go out. I wasn't living the Spartan life that I'd lived before, so.
The first time we got knocked out, that was it. And he said, no more, that's it. Once you don't see them coming, he said, that's it.
And then I just finally faded out. Like an old cowboy.
Two-time WBC light heavyweight champion of the world, the first Australian Aboriginal ever to be champion of the world. Hey, brother! Please let me stay for one more drink. I know. What a legend. A bloody legend.
So are you?
No, I'm not. Hey, listen, these blokes own the country.
That's right. They let you in, didn't they?
Did you know that you blokes are older than the, actually, they're the oldest indigenous race on planet Earth.
Look out, behind you.
Did you know that the Aboriginals are the oldest indigenous race on planet Earth? And he's my mate, so I know the real deal.
Well, the 70s wasn't a good 10 years for me, because I got divorced in 75 or something like that.
I thought I heard you calling my name. Ain't it funny? Hey, you don't feel the same. 'Cause I walk through the streets of the city, and I thought I heard you calling my name. Ain't it funny? How you don't see the same.
Troy's got me all these grouse. What's her names, right? He's on the computer getting all, Marty Robbins and Merle Haggett. No, he's taking me with grouse music.
Now, every time she says this, when I play Merle, is that fucking Merle Maggot again? I said, oh, come on, he's a hillbilly. As any time I kick up on it.
Remember back in...
She hasn't got a tune in the fucking body. The only tune she knows is that tune. Hold your hand up. Hold your hand. I get the... I said...
When police investigated a break-in at the high school on April the 13th, they found several doors jimmied open and windows broken. The court was told today that Rose was found with a wheel brace, hiding behind a cupboard in the music room. He said he was there to get contraband because he was short of money and had family commitments. Counsel for Rose, Mr. Ian Pollock, said all the money his client had won from boxing had gone, a situation supported by his former manager, Mr. Jack Rennie, who said what had happened was out of character and could only be put down to drinking. He said Rose now had a great incentive to do well in a Fitzroy gymnasium, where he would be training Aboriginal boxers. The magistrate, Mr. O'Donoghue, told Rose it's a great pity that a man who has enjoyed your success finds himself in this position. He said he had considered a jail term.
Well, the one-time boxing hero, Lionel Rose, has suffered a heart attack. The former world champion is in a serious condition in the Warrigal Hospital in Gippsland.
Well, the reason I chose to move back to the country, Droon and Warrigal, was because I wanted to bring my son, up in the country.
Don't come near me. Go away from me.
That's on camera.
Without Jenny, I don't know where Lionel would be. I mean, she is the most amazing woman, one of the most amazing women I've ever met in my life, for the sincerity, and she's been there at the start of his career and at the end of his career.
Hurry up.
More to the point, like when he's needed her, when he's had heart attacks and when he's been down and out, Jenny has been rock solid. So he knows it. Lionel knows it. He, by his own admission, he hasn't been the perfect husband, but then, as I said before, he has made mistakes. He'd be the first to admit it.
She's critical of him when he plays up, and she adores him when he's good, but that love, it never changes. That love is rock solid. Has been. I think it's a love that started in teenage years and just kept growing.
Start with 2.
Yeah.
Okay. There's plenty more there. I'll get a serviette out, okay? I think we've learned over the years that we do have culture clashes, but that's okay, if that makes sense, because he's not going to change and I'm not going to change either, so we just have to either accept it or move on.
It's that kind of relationship, no one will ever chip it away. Lionel would cheat and do all those things. Jenny never would, because that's Jenny, and she's 6 foot tall and could pretty much kick a Sherman tank to pieces if she wanted to.
What you doing, boy? Where's the alcohol? How are you? Are you happy? You happy? I'm coming down to see you.
Lionel goes every day over to see his mum. Every day he trots over, even if it's an hour or 2 hours.
The gas and track, we lived out there then, didn't we?
Yeah. He always lets her know what he's doing, still.
Or Bill Regnier. Do you remember Bill Regnier?
Yeah, I remember Bill Regnier.
Remember they shot him down at Garfield sawmill?
Yeah. Would have been...
He's a good bloke too, Bill Regnier. Who's in the middle then? Shaughnessy.
Roy O'Shaughnessy.
Roy O'Shaughnessy. He used to do a bit of pugging too, I think.
Yeah,
well, look, if you can't look after your family, who can you look after? And of course, my mum, I remember the days when we used to eat black tea and dabber. So no, when I acquired the riches and that, well, that's the first thing I do when I spent it on my family. So, you know, and I spent a lot on myself too. And other people.
He got a phone call from Charlie Perkins, and he and Charlie often agreed on things and often disagreed on things. But it was when I think Clive Holding was Minister for Aboriginal Affairs, and Charlie Perkins was the secretary, first ever Aboriginal secretary for Aboriginal Affairs. And he felt that sometimes people didn't listen to him or tell him what was going on, but they would talk to Lionel. He rang him and asked him would he be interested in working for the government, but mostly talking to kids.
I remember I opened up a couple of gymnasiums. I had one in Mordialloc Youth Club, teaching kids boxing. It was only a phone call and say, look, can you help us out, or maybe a publicity shot, or come down and just let the kids meet you. And, you know, he was there. He was there. And to see the look on those kids' faces for when Lionel Rose walked into that gymnasium was priceless.
Long after the shouting was gone and he walked out of the ring for the last time, the media still decided that when there's a chance to have a go, they do. A long time ago, he reconciled himself to deal with it the best way he could, and the best way to do that generally is silence.
I think he's always felt a bit uncomfortable with the limelight. If he does do a sportsman's night, again through his modesty, he's not there to sell himself.
The low quality products Warrigal Cup. "40 years ago today, where Lionel Rose, who is standing here with me, who I welcome to Logan Park, and standing next to Lionel is one of our sponsors, John Williams, from John Williams Creative Hairdressing. But it's 40 years next month since that epic title fight in Tokyo when Lionel became the world bantamweight boxing champion when he defeated Fighting Harada, and I think it's something all Australia was very proud of back 40 years ago, and we are equally as proud today to have a former world boxing champion with us, and I think we should show our appreciation of a great champion. And I would now ask Lionel, on behalf of the Harada Rose world title fight, to make a trophy presentation, and congratulations to you, Dennis.
For a certain period in the late 1960s and early 1970s, Lionel Rose was the best known Aboriginal person on the planet. His fame was huge. The pressures, therefore, that were placed on him in terms of expectations from all directions would have been enormous and spectacular. That the man has even survived that is again a measure of the man.
By a unanimous points decision, from the blue corner, Anthony Torres!
That's the best exhibition of boxing we've ever seen. Parker. World champion. Now where's Jillawa? Where's the Torres? All right, straight this way. Oh, yeah? Sweet. I'm good. Hey! I'm looking at it. It took a while then. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, keep on going.
I'm good. It's a good result, eh?
Excellent. We want a high now.
How's that music? The music good?
Yes.
I still got the old Martin.
Yeah.
Waiting for
you
it.
keep on playing that too. Slim, you get favour.
I get this bloke in here too. Can this bloke sing? Hey, Uncle.
You grew up you grew up my father, Ozzie Jackson.
Hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Sweet.
Remember that photo you signed? I got that for Brucey Swan. That's the Brucey.
This is him. This is my man.
He loves you.
Sweet.
Thank you for your smile, brother.
No worry, buddy. Sweet. That's well, yeah, good.
Uncle, you want to sign that for me, please?
Come on, jump in. All jump in.
You got a pen?
No worries.
Hey, you got a pen there?
I can't sign it, Uncle. I forgot no fucking pen.
Oh, no, my uncle. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry about that.
Sorry, uncle.
Well, better.
Here.
Here, we found a pen. You hold it tight. Grab the other side. Hold that tight. Pull it out tight.
Please, my uncle.
Go to sleep.
Oh, good look at. Oh, you like it. I know that one. I just put him out of business anyway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And when he worked for the government with the Aboriginal Affairs, they used to have drivers, because sometimes he'd be all over Australia, overseas or whatever, and they'd have drivers waiting when he got back to Melbourne to take him home to Druin. And the driver said, the closer you got to Druin, the more gum trees you could see, the further up the seat liner would be sitting. It just come to life. It just hates being away from there, don't you?
Yeah. I'm a homebody. You know, mate? Here's the gold record. Oh, let me thank you for just being you. Oh, when a boy becomes a man, he must do the best he can. Live his life and find his childhood dream. I've had good times and the band, and the biggest break I've had was when I found that girl that thought of only me. 2, 3, 4, thank you for your smile and the love that's in your eyes. Thank you for a heart that's big and true. Thank you for the many things you are, my love. Let me thank you for just being you. Oh, let me